What's going on, A.B.A.T.E of Illinois? This is your state lobbyist, Josh Witkowski, coming to you talking about House Bill 2980, Senate Bill 2075. This is the Cycle Rider Safety Training Act rewrite that we authorized back in August of last year, that the baseline of it was presented to the board in December of last year, and this legislation is the result of that. First things first, it is a little bit after midnight on March the 12th. House Bill 2980 is actually going to be heard later today in about 14 hours, about 2 p.m. on the 12th, and it's actually going to be heard in the State Government Administration Committee. It's a little bit of a different committee for ABATE bills to end up in, but it will be there. So if you would, file a witness slip for that, and we'll cover that at the end of the video. But what we want to do is go into some of the rumors concerning this bill, some of the things that have been said about it, what it does, what it doesn't do. So first things first, we want to make very clear, this bill does not end the cycle rider safety training. What this bill does is it gets rid of the very large regions. Instead of having large regions, it opens up training providers to public and private entities, just like every other state in the nation. Illinois is unique. We are the only state remaining where we are locked down to universities. We are trying to do away with that so that we can encourage more training providers and different training providers to come into the state of the Illinois to assist Southern Illinois University with the ridiculous workload of trying to train the entire state. By doing this, we expect to see more training open up in the northern area of the state. We are going on 3 years without training up there. We're coming into our third season without training up there. We were told at a meeting last August that it would be potentially 5 years before training comes back up there. That's just simply not acceptable. So that's really one of the things that Major League drove this. The other thing that's driving this is capacity. This is modeled based on Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was able to train 15,000 students last year at a cost per student of almost half what we are paying per student in the state of Illinois. So let's go through this real quick. Those of you that are curious as to what's in it, I've got it called up on the screen. We're just going to talk about what's there, hit the highlights, and then we're going to show you the witness slips or where they are at for this particular bill here at the end of this video. So here we have the bill itself. If you go to the ILGA website, you can actually go to and find House Bill 2980. You type it in right here. This is what you will see first. What you are looking for to see what's in the bill is to go to the full text, and you're going to go to House Amendment 1 because the amendment becomes the bill. So first things first, we grant emergency rulemaking to the DOT so that way they can implement this law faster should this bill become law. Emergency rulemaking allows for a more expedited process. They are going to have to rewrite some administrative rules. The next thing that we do is we remove motor-driven cycle and moped from the law because these classes are no longer designed to accommodate those. These are motorcycle-only classes now. The next thing that we do is we open up curricula to anything that meets NHTSA standards. There's several different curriculum that do this. The Illinois Department of Transportation gets to still consider curriculum and decide what to do with it, but the curriculum must meet standards established by NHTSA, which should help standardize training, but it should also help open up to numerous other providers. Speaking of providers, you can see right here, we still allow community colleges, state universities, state local government agency, for-profit, non-profit businesses. The only thing that is not allowed are organizations that have a monetary stake in selling motorcycles. So if you have motorcycles available for consignment, if you are a dealer, that is just not going to be able to be a provider. That comes from the request of several lawmakers. It comes from the Secretary of State. Nobody is comfortable with a dealer being able to provide a license waiver course. Next thing up, the way that the grants are done now Instead of being the large regional training centers, DOT gets to put out on an as-needed basis notices to the public seeking cycle rider safety training course providers. Those providers have to include in the response the location where they're teaching, the number of students they're training, whether they're providing motorcycles or using motorcycles provided by the state, and then the most important part is a cost for the courses provided on a per student basis. We're asking them to break down their cost on a cost per student basis rather than an overall inflated cost. Contracts will be awarded based on who best fits needs. The provider, however, only gets paid when they teach a class. So the provider will have to hold the classes. They will have to teach as many students as possible, because by teaching more students, that is what determines their rate of pay or how much they are paid overall. Now, certain other non-personnel expenses are allowed to be provided, but what we are done with and what we've heard overall, the biggest thing is no longer paying for administrative staff and salaries for areas that are not providing training or that are providing very minimal training. The emphasis in this new legislation is training as many students as possible. As I've said, it's based on the Pennsylvania model, which is very similar to several other states. This has worked out very well for them. They've trained 15,000 students at a cost per student of nearly half what we are paying currently through the Cycle Rider Safety Training Grant. Going on beyond that, the other thing that is in this bill, if you were to keep scrolling down, you would see that there is a requirement for quality assurance visits on every instructor. That will help reduce liability because it shows that everybody is performing up to the standards of the curriculum and the standards of the program. This is something that should have been done from the beginning. Many other states do it. They're kind of surprised to find out that Illinois really doesn't even require a quality assurance visit. We're supposed to be doing it, but a lot of the providers aren't. So this does fix that issue. The last thing to really know about this is kind of what I stated at the beginning. The regional cycle safety training centers go away. We have seen, SIU has all 3 centers throughout the state of Illinois. That goes away. SIU can focus on the areas where they already have established or where they are establishing. If they wish to keep that, that's fine. They could submit bids based on that. But we're going to have other providers joining the fray that are going to come in. They're going to be asking to provide training in many different areas of the state. By increasing the number of trainers available, providers available, you increase the number of instructors. You also increase student capacity, and that is absolutely what we need in the state of Illinois right now. We are seeing over 36% of fatalities being caused by individuals who have no training or no license. As the COVID money caused a rash in buying motorcycles, the training went away right after the COVID money came in and people were buying all these motorcycles, and that has not been good for the state of Illinois. So, if you have any further questions about this bill or what it does, my email is right there on the screen. You can reach out to ABATE of Illinois. We're happy to address questions on this. But as it sits right now, there are no opponents to this bill. The Illinois Department of Transportation is neutral, as is the Secretary of State, and Southern Illinois University. We met with their government relations department last week. They indicated to us today that they are not opposed to this legislation either. They understand what we're trying to do here. So with that said, as I said at the beginning of the call, or beginning of the video, call your legislators. Ask them to sponsor House Bill 2980. Call your senators next week. Ask them to sponsor Senate Bill 2075. We are running each bill from each house. They will cross over. Hopefully one of the two will make it through both houses, and we will be good to go on it. The other thing to do is to fill out a witness slip. So we're going to go back to the screen here. You can see witness slips here. Shows what the witness slip is. Shows me as filed, but I'm going to show you how to get here. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log off. You're going to go to myilga.gov, and you're going to go to the dashboard, and it's going to bring you here to this screen right here. And it's going to show you today's House committees. You're going to scroll down 312, 2 p.m., State Government Administration. You're going to hit that little button there. You're going to scroll all the way down. You're going to go down to the number 2, and we're going to go to House Bill 2980 HCA1. That's House Committee Amendment 1. It says Stephanie Kifowit. You're going to go right here to the little pen, the little writing utensil there on the pad, and you're going to fill all of this in. Your name, your address, your city. Firm, business, agency does not need to be filled out. If you want, though, you can put your chapter of ABATE. Title, not necessary. Email is necessary. Phone is necessary. Person's representation is going to be self. HCA, we're going to mark proponent. And then you're going to mark record of appearance only right here. And then you're going to hit create slip. There's a longer video here on the YouTube channel that explains the slip process a little bit better. But because this is in a different committee, we thought it was important to point out what's going on with the witness slip. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, you have yourselves a great day, and look forward to seeing many of you next week on March 19th for A.B.A.T.E of Illinois Legislative Day. Till then, we'll see you later.